Hello and welcome to Panoramic Edition, where we discuss national, regional and international developments in depth. The Kingdom of Bahrain and the Federative Republic of Brazil enjoy close and friendly relations based on mutual trust and understanding in light of the keen interest of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Excellency President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil, and the support of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to further consolidate joint ties. Enhanced cooperation in various fields witnesses constant development supported by exerted efforts by both sides, leadership and officials to take mutual ties to greater heights. This year, the two countries are celebrating 50 years of diplomatic relations, along with outstanding friendship and collaboration. To talk more about that, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Federative Republic of Brazil to the Kingdom of Bahrain, His Excellency Adriano Silva Pucci, right after this. Welcome back. With us here in the studio is His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Federative Republic of Brazil to the Kingdom of Bahrain, His Excellency Mr. Adriano Silva Pucci. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Ambassador, this is a long time coming that we have the first resident ambassador in the Kingdom of Bahrain to be with us on the show and be part of the Panoramic Edition shows. This year, Bahrain and Brazil are celebrating 50 long, beautiful years of the establishment of their diplomatic ties. How do you value the significance of this anniversary, and what kind of plans have you prepared to basically celebrate that?
Thank you. I'm very proud of this landmark achievement that is the installation and the presence of a Brazilian ambassador here. I'm the first of a Portuguese-speaking country and the first of Latin America to live in Bahrain. And for too long, our relations were dealt with by our embassy in Kuwait. Yeah. Now we have embassies in six Gulf countries, and Bahrain, last but not the least, is very important to us. It's a 50-year bilateral relationship, when Bahrain was not yet a hub for innovation and technology and a financial center, and Brazil had half its population and also an economy that were 10 times smaller. Now Bahrain has transformed itself, and also Brazil. We are now the 7th economy in the world. We have 50 million companies that are eager to do business with Bahrain, and the embassy is ready to support them in this goal.
Amazing. When it comes to celebrating or pinpointing what the major diplomatic ties were in these 50 years, I mean, we have culture, we have economy, we have so many things that come in. What really stands out?
Well, for me, one thing that was a game changer is the fact that now we are 11,000 kilometers away from Brazil, 20 hours flight from Brazil. But Brazilian businessmen and Bahraini businessmen can talk on a video call. Yeah. So internet was very important for countries that are far away from each other, but mainly the embassies, because no matter how much technology helps us, the relationship must have a memory, must have a hard drive, so that we can follow up on all the deals and discussions between both governments, and have a memory of what was accomplished, so that we can improve relations.
Absolutely. When it comes to the relationship, a very important point to talk about is the Bahrain-Brazil Parliament Group, which ceremony was recently held to mark the 50th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between both countries. What can you tell us about the importance and outcomes of this very vital event?
We had a large Brazilian delegation of congressmen here in the beginning of this year. Now in July, Bahraini congressman had the courtesy of traveling to Brazil and meeting their counterparts. It's very important now. Diplomacy is not only a matter of executive power. Yeah. We have presidential diplomacy, we have parliamentary diplomacy, cultural diplomacy, sports diplomacy, and most of all, civil diplomacy. Yes. We have 300 Brazilians living and working in Bahrain. Yes. And they carry with them the image of Brazil, and they can make a contribution just like the Arab people made its contribution to Brazil when they first came in late 19th century. Mm. Now we have 3 million Brazilians of Arab origin. We have 3,000 words in our dictionary that are similar to Arabic. For example, you say inshallah, we say oshallah. Okay. It's directly derived from the Arabic language. So we know your culture, your food, your language, and we are prepared to help Bahrain and be helped by Bahrain in various ways. And the presence of the embassy here is a landmark, is a breakthrough, and we are going to value this opportunity. And we thank King Hamad and Bahraini people for their hospitality.
Mr. Ambassador, when you talk about all of these relations, it really is awe-inspiring how countries that are so far away from each other have such a tight relationship and strong relationship, whether it's an economy, as you've mentioned, sports and others, but also that the world is a small place now when you really look at it, and not just culture spread, but word of mouth is easier now to spread over the internet, over these kind of platforms. When it comes to that, the event of the Bahrain-Brazilian parliamentary group was important in highlighting certain issues. What can you tell us about that? What were the most important outcomes of it?
Yes. In 2018, we established a mechanism for political consultations that includes parliamentary dialogue, but goes much beyond that. We are heading to the 5th edition of the political consultations mechanism, most likely by the end of this year, on the sidelines of the Manama dialogue. Yes. And we are going to bring, hopefully, the Undersecretary for Middle East and African Affairs of our Foreign Ministry, and also for the Manama dialogue, the Joint Chief of Staff. So we had an upgrade for Vice Ministerial level, and I will be very happy to have them here, because every time Brazilian and Bahraini authorities meet, they sign new deals, propose new initiatives. For example, one of the results of these political consultations is an air services agreement that offers a legal framework for, in the future, flights, direct flights, one-stop flights between Brazil and Bahrain. Also, a military cooperation agreement that is very important for the industrial defense base sectors in both countries, that now is under consideration in the Brazilian parliament. So we hope that when they come here, we'll have new deals and have new horizons to explore.
Absolutely. This is an indicator of how keen the leadership of both countries, Bahrain and Brazil, are to bolster the relations between these different fields. Moving away a little bit from the diplomatic field, going back into the economic field, the sports field, the cultural field, where are the main points where there is a really tight relationship and big cooperation?
In the sports field, we had a visit of a Brazilian Hall of Famer in the UFC here last November. We also had a company in the sector of sports techs to cooperate with Bahraini universities on the development of softwares for sports. This is a billion-dollar industry. And we'll have a week from now the gymnasiate. We have 246 Brazilian students coming to Bahrain. It will be the largest foreign delegation of school students to take part in this competition. Bahraini delegation will be the largest. It's the host country.
Yes.
So we're expecting to have many Brazilians, hundreds of Brazilians here in the very month of October. We also have, in the second semester of next year, Brazil for the fourth time will lead the Task Force 151 of Combined Maritime Forces. It's the largest, as you well know, largest naval partnership in the world. It's based in Bahrain, in Manama, and 46 countries take part in this alliance, and Brazil is part of it, and it, for the fourth time, gives its contribution to stability and prosperity in the Gulf region waters by combating piracy.
Yes, yes. And a very important factor and issue, especially in our times. How did the official exchange visit result in further exchanging Bahraini-Brazilian relations and facts and figures, especially that they have been mutual visits between leaderships or people from here and from Brazil?
Very recently, both our foreign ministers met in Riyadh.
Yes.
Brazil is very concerned at the context, the situation, and very worried about the latest developments in the region, and wants to join forces with peaceful countries like Bahrain to find an equation that prevents so many deaths and humanitarian tragedies in the region. So we were invited by the GCC to the ministerial meeting in Riyadh. Our foreign ministers met, and a joint communique was issued celebrating this meeting between them, and it paves the way for other visits. We hope to have Bahrain joining the G20 in Brazil in November.
Yeah.
We'll launch a global alliance for fighting hunger and poverty. More than 50 countries are already part of it, and we invited Bahrain to join us. And in 2025, 1 year from now, we also have the Climate Summit, the 30th Climate Summit in the very Amazon forest. It will be a city in the heart of the jungle where heads of state of all over the world will meet and discuss environment, but not only environment linked to development, bioeconomy, biotechnology, so that economy becomes a positive factor when you talk about environment, not something that depletes the ecosystem, but contributes to its enhancing.
Yes, of course. And Brazil, as we've discussed before the show, is a bar setter when it comes to the preservation of natural resources, to fight for climate and for fighting climate change itself. In recent published statements during the Bahrain-Brazil Parliamentary Group ceremony, the President of the Chamber of Deputies of Brazil, His Excellency Mr. Arthur Lira, has praised Bahrain's efforts to maintain peace and consolidate the principles of tolerance and coexistence. How do you value those efforts?
Well, they are perfectly in line with Brazilian values. Yeah. I can tell you that Article 4 of our National Charter, our Constitution, lists the same principles and goals that the King Hamad's declaration has stated on this paper. And so for us, it is a matter of constitutional observance. And in this sense, in this connection, we Bahrainis and Brazilians want to promote the same principles, and for us it's enshrined in our constitution, and His Majesty was so wise, he issued this declaration, and it's though both documents are a very important basis for a permanent dialogue between Brazil and Bahrain on this subject. Talking about tolerance and peaceful coexistence, I remember when I was 13 years old, I watched a soap opera in Brazil. It was called The Immigrants. And this soap opera was about foreigners who came to Brazil to build the country. And there was one Italian, one Portuguese, one Spanish, and one Arab.
Okay.
And so it's part of our culture, loving and recognizing the contribution of other countries to the building, to nation building in Brazil.
Absolutely. When it comes to the Kingdom of Bahrain, the diversity of the residents and citizens of Bahrain also hold their place when it comes to showing the acceptance that is here. When it comes to when it comes to the citizens of Brazil, people, as you've mentioned, that are working here, how do you feel the collaboration is, or the feel is, living on the grounds of Bahrain and having that ease?
They consider Bahrain as a second home. I always talk to Brazilians who are here, doctors, businessmen, hardworking women in the beauty sector, and else teachers, music teachers, and so on, priests, pastors, and they all tell me that they always come for 2 years, and then they extend their stay and
Longer.
Spend their life here. They have kids, Bahraini kids. I was the other day I was talking to a chef in a very important Bahraini restaurant here. He already has a child born in Bahrain, so this is a symbol of our friendship.
Yes, definitely. How do you value the two countries' constant efforts to further improve, constant efforts to implement the Kingdom of Bahrain's declaration that we've just talked about in South America? And this was, to just remind people, was launched by the King Hamad Global Center for Peaceful Coexistence in 2020 in cooperation with the Bahraini Embassy in Brasilia.
Well, as a Catholic myself, I was very pleased to come to Bahrain and see the Cathedral of Our Lady of Arabia that I attend every Friday, where I go to pray for the Bahraini people and for the King, and for the friendship between our countries. So it's an example. Brazil also has a tradition of tolerance and coexistence, and for us it's a natural development, and we consider that the Arab people we have a lot to learn from their experience, and we want as well to share all the things we have conquered through the years, especially peace. Brazil has not waged war against any country for the past 150 years. Last war we had was the only one, was because of an invasion of the country, but it took place in the 1870s. So it's been a long time, and I hope that we never ever have to have a conflict again. So we developed this experience of drawing our borders through diplomatic agreements. We have 10 neighboring countries. With all of them, we have a very peaceful border that sets an example with the world.
Absolutely. Your Excellency, you touched on the topic of acceptance and this coming natural. And as you've mentioned, this is a natural evolvement of any human being to accept one another, no matter what or where they are from. Having that put in mind, do you feel like the Kingdom of Bahrain has that platform, that fertile ground when it comes to having all the people here? Not just it's a business hub, not just it is a financial hub, it's a tech hub, but also it's where people, as you've said, start homes. Is that something you believe in when it comes to the kingdom?
Definitely, and that's why we are working on visa agreements, on airlines agreements, on business. We are bringing companies to Bahrain on the sectors of agricultural productivity, waste management. All those companies have already been tested in the Gulf markets. So they are already established in Dubai or in Riyadh, and they didn't extend their reach to Bahrain because there was no embassy to support their visits. Now that we are here, we are expecting to welcome more and more commercial trade missions in Bahrain. We have a well-established tradition of mutual support in candidatures in multilateral fora. We vote, endorse each other's candidatures very successfully because we share those values. And Bahrain is actively taking part in many geometries, diplomatic configurations that Brazil is part of. Soon we'll have the BRICS Plus a week from now in Kazan. Russia has the chairmanship. We will be pleased to have for the first time 5 additional countries. 4 of them are Arab countries, 2 of them are Gulf countries taking part in this arrangement that gives a voice to the concerns of the global South and developing countries, and is all about democratic governance in the world.
Democratic governance in the world also comes bilaterally in having friendships with the countries all around you or in different parts of the world. Trade is one of the ways to keep friendships strong and good. Trade between Bahrain and Brazil has been remarkably growing over the past 3 years especially. Why is that significant?
Well, no matter how many times governmental officials meet, who really builds this friendship and prosperity between countries are their people. And we have very idealistic entrepreneurs from both sides, and that have been interacting, so that our volume of trade now is $1.4 billion. Brazil is the second largest non-oil exporter to Bahrain, second only to China. And unfortunately, this trade has been concentrated on a few items. For example, 90% of what Brazil sells to Bahrain is iron ore. A third of Bahraini sales to Brazil are fertilizers that are very important for our agricultural business. But in a world where logistics is so complicated because of instability, we have to diversify this trade. We have to have a wider range of products, and that's my commitment to Dr. Al-Zayani, to the Brazilian authorities, to promote this vision of a more diversified, plural trade trend in Bahrain.
Is there something in specific or a specific field where you see there is a future here for more collaboration?
Definitely. I see, for example, in food security, we have a very important company that was here in Bahrain. They manage lighting for outdoor lighting for agricultural production, and they showed me a sunflower this size, and they can really help Bahrain with its food security. Even they are in contact with a Brazilian university, and they have been studying the Bahraini desert and the trees, forests, and Brazilian ecosystem that is not as dry as here, but had many species that are resistant to Bahraini weather and soil. So if we, next year, we can really join the National Initiative for Agricultural Development of Bahrain, we can, in the medium to long run, like 10, 15 years, help Bahrain become a greener country. Even because, you see, if you can have the trees, then comes the bees and all the
whole ecosystem,
that makes the country greener. And if it worked in a very challenging ecosystem in Brazil, in the northeast of Brazil, we truly believe it can work here as well.
Really looking forward to that, especially that Bahrain is one of the countries that is moving forward when it comes to diversifying the ecosystem for climate change, for food security, and all of these important factors. Before we end today's show, Mr. Ambassador, what are the future plans that are being prepared by the Embassy of Brazil here in Manama?
Well, this year we worked hard in changing the location of our embassy. We have a new embassy. You're invited to visit us whenever it pleases you. It's a larger embassy and more well prepared for the opening of this visa section that we are very eager to make reality. We are also discussing with the Foreign Ministry of Bahrain an action plan for the next 5 years so that we can raise the standard of our bilateral relations to a strategic level and show that Brazil has a very solid commitment to Bahrain, not only circumstantial dialogue, but that we are here for good. And we are also, we have already understandings, and we're signing the contract for a reception to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of our bilateral relations in late January. And I hope it can be an opportunity for us to show our joy to have Bahrain as a friendly country.
Absolutely, and we are looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for being with us today.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Celebrating the 50th anniversary, the two countries reaffirmed their determination to further strengthen the bonds of friendship and cooperation between each other. The Kingdom of Bahrain and the Federative Republic of Brazil look forward to exploring new avenues for ensuring that bilateral relations continue to flourish for the benefit of both nations. Thank you for watching, and see you next week in another episode of Panoramic Edition.